Attorney, nasan si Pastor? Yan.
Yan din ang tanong ko kung saan siya ngayon exactly. Oo, that's also my question. And that is why siguro kaya nangyayari itong maraming problema po ngayon.
Pero kayo po ba yung nakapag-usap lately?
Lately, wala po. The last time that I was able to talk to him was a long discussion prior to the issuance of the warrant of arrest issued by the Senate.
You haven't talked to him since the warrants were released?
Yes. I was not able to talk to him, but it was a long discussion before that was issued. We already talked about certain scenarios as to what would happen because somehow he was able to foresee that these things may happen. So that is why I can talk for him based on his last instructions to me.
Attorney, agree ba kayo sa statement ni former President Digong na overkill yung raid?
It was not only an overkill. I do believe, I have reasonable grounds to believe that it was even illegal. No? And why do I say that? Because under Rule 113, Section 11 of the revised rules on criminal procedure or rules on criminal procedure, there are 3 requisites before you can actually enter, a police officer can enter any enclosures or dwelling. And I believe that at least 2, and there is even ground to believe that all 3 are not present in this case. And why do I say that? Because the first requisite is, it states that the public officer, that the person to be arrested is or is reasonably believed to be in said building. Second, that the police officer has announced his purpose and authority to make the arrest. And then thirdly, the third requisite is that he has requested and been denied admittance. Now, as to the first requisite po, this has been grievously violated because the operation, the raid, was conducted simultaneously in 4 different locations. Number 1, in the airport compound here, the KOJC Central. Second is in the Prayer Mountain in Tamayong, Kalinan. Third is in yung sa tuktok na talaga ng bundok, doon sa Glory Mountain din sa Kalinan. And fourth, in Kitbug in the southern province po, Sarangani province. So, I cannot believe that Pastor Apollo Quiboloy would be reasonably believed to be in 4 places at the same time. And the arrest warrant likewise clearly indicated that his address is at KOJC Central in Buhangin, Davao City. So therefore, the search in the supposed arrest operation in Glory Mountain, in Tamayong, Kalinan, in the Prayer Mountain, and in Kitbug, are, to my mind, illegal.
Sasampahan nyo ba ng kaso, Attorney, yung
yes
kapulisan? Sasampahan nyo ba ng kaso? Itong sinasabi nyong illegal, so pwede nyong sampahan ng kaso yung mga nag-serve ng warrant o yung nagutos?
There is that great probability po because we are looking at Article 269 of the Revised Penal Code, unlawful arrests, because in Kalinan, in Glory Mountain, there were 9 members who were unlawfully arrested, and all the requisites of an unlawful arrest under Article 269 is present. There is also a probable violation of Article 132, which is interruption of religious worship, because here in KOJC Central in Buhangin, the operation was conducted at 3:45 in the morning to 4 o'clock. And that is actually the time of the devotional prayer of the members of KOJC, of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. And if you interrupt that, that is actually a manifestation or a ceremony of a religious nature, and that is actually criminal in nature likewise. The destruction of the fence can also constitute as malicious mischief, especially in the light of the fact that the entry was done without prior request to enter, And they know already that the administrator of all the properties of the kingdom is the former President Rodrigo Duterte. And President Rodrigo Duterte consent has not been secured, and if you destroy outright key defense without prior consent on the part of the owner thereof, of course, that is a criminal violation. That is a crime.
Attorney Torreon, the last time you talked to your client was before the arrest warrant was made or issued. The
Yes.
police have searched 4 places. There is no Pastor Quiboloy. The pastor himself has said that he fears for his life. Attorney, my question is the pastor in hiding?
Legally, I don't think he is in hiding because he is availing of the options that are available to him under the law. I think he already intimated his reason. He has genuine grounds to believe that he might be a victim of extraordinary rendition to be conducted by the United States of America. And he actually intimated or clearly stated his request to the Philippine government that there is at least a formal declaration that the United States of America should not be allowed to intervene in purely domestic matters. And we already explained that this is a legal request in the light of the social contract theory that we surrender some of our rights to the government, and the government in return should protect us. And what is that protection? Protection against territorial interference insofar as domestic affairs is concerned. It is not an unreasonable request that the United States of America should be prevented from interfering in the domestic affairs, especially judicial proceedings in our country.
Pero di ba, Attorney,
you don't want to say that
you
don't want to say that he is in hiding. So what do we call the situation? He's making himself unavailable for
He is
rendition,
making
for
himself
law
unavailable.
enforcers?
He cannot just be found, and that is one of his options under the law. Because note that the legal term fugitive from justice in the famous Rodriguez case states that a person can be considered as a fugitive from justice if there is already a conviction against him, and to all those persons who, after being charged, flee to avoid prosecution. In this case, there is still a legal question as to the phrase "after being charged," simply because of the fact that we are questioning the indictment on the ground that there was really no probable cause against him. But the more meaty part is that there is violation of his right to speedy disposition of cases in Kagang versus Sandigan Bayan, Katamko versus Sandigan Bayan, and such other host of cases. The Supreme Court has stated that if there is grave violation of the right of an accused to speedy disposition of cases, then there is no valid information, and the information is void, and therefore the warrant of arrest is void. And if a person avails of such right, we filed a motion for reconsideration from the resolution of the Department of Justice, and it is still pending until now. And whose fault is that? That is the fault of the Department of Justice for again delaying the disposition of this case. So therefore, if he avails of that right, and in the meantime waits for it to be ruled upon by the court, you cannot legally tell that he is a fugitive from justice. So therefore, I have reasonable grounds to say that he is not in hiding. He
Pero
is
attorney,
simply unavailable.
Attorney,
would you know
but
at
he's
least
wanted
if
by the
he's
law.
still in the Philippines?
That I really do not know as of the moment. Whether or not he is in the Philippines or already abroad, I cannot say with certainty. But I communicate with his leaders every day. And as a matter of fact, I am now inside the JMC compound, KOJC compound, which was the place of the raid yesterday.
So, Attorney...
And can you clarify if there is a search warrant? Kasi
No
yun ang
search
sinasabi niya
warrant.
nung iba.
Yun na nga po,
There was
Ma'am
no
Amy.
search warrant.
Wala pong search warrant. Nung dumating ako, 3:45 a.m., nakatulog kasi ako 2:30 kasi po, din po ako ng law school, nag-aaral po tayo, marami din tayong kaso. 2:30 na ako nakarating. 3:45 pala sila dito. They arrived here at 3:45 a.m. and you know, wala pong pasabi. Diretso ka agad. It turned out hindi pala mga taga Davao yun. Taga Region 10 pala yun. Yung mga pulis, kaya wala silang knowledge as to the terrain, no? diretso silang umakyat. Hindi naman po pwede yun because Rule 113, Section 11 states that even if you are a warrant of arrest, you should secure the consent of the person who is the owner of the building or enclosure or the facility. You could not just enter the property armed only by an arrest warrant, no? It is only after you announce your purpose. Rule 113, Section 11 states that, and if you are refused admittance, that you can break entry, no? That's the rule. But in this case, hindi po na-follow yun. Wala ngang tawag doon sa administrator ng property. And who is the administrator? Si President Rodrigo Duterte po. Dapat nagpaalam sila, President, meron po kaming arrest warrant dito. Sigurado ako mapapagalitan sila kasi noong May 11, 2024, nag-serve na sila ng arrest warrant. Pangatlo na po itong service na search warrant na ito. And under the rules, the police officers, no, are mandated to render a report of the warrant. Return ang tawag niyan, no, within 10 days.
Attorney.
May order na nga yung judge na na-recognize niya yung return. Ang proper procedure po, dapat nag-file po sila ng motion for issuance of alias warrant of arrest. Hindi ginawa yun At during the time of the service po, wala namang warrant officer. Walang warrant officer from the court. Lahat po sila, mga full military gear, full battle gear. Siyempre, nagsiservice yung mga members ni Pastor, nagulantang. And what would be the initial reaction of a man when his castle, when his home is invaded? He would naturally defend the castle because according to U.S. versus Arceo, the Supreme Court clearly stated that however powerful a king may be, a human being, a person, is a king in his own home. That is his own castle. So you could not just violate the privacy of the home, of our house, or a dwelling, or even a facility without the consent of the owner. That is one of the most cherished concepts of all civilized society.
Attorney, for a non-lawyer like me, nahihirapan akong sundan yung jurisprudence na binabanggit nyo. Pero dalawang simpleng tanong lang. Kung as a lawyer, anong i-advise nyo kay Pastor Quiboloy? Should he surrender? Should he hide? Ikalawa ay, may possibility ba, yung tanong ni Ami kanina, may possibility ba na nasa labas na siya ng bansa? Dahil sabi nyo kasi hindi nyo alam kung nandito siya sa loob o nasa labas. So, may possibility na nasa labas na rin siya ng bansa?
Only Pastor Apollo Quiboloy can answer that. But to answer your first question po, sir, if you are a lawyer and you are asked an opinion by your client, no, I believe that you have to provide him options because that is not your choice. You have to provide him perhaps 3 options and you let him decide. You have to conduct a SWOT analysis to him. What are the strengths, weaknesses? What are the threats if you do this? Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages? But you let your client decide. In this case, he has made his decision, and whatever may be my opinion contrary to such a decision, I have to respect him because in the final analysis, that is his person, that is his right, and I have to respect his right on the matter.
Pero based on the SWOT na binigay nyo, attorney, nakapagbigay na kayo ng 3 options.
One of the options is to surrender. You remember, I do hope Senator Lacson po would forgive me. During that time po, meron din pong warrant si Senator Lacson. But he waited. He waited until the Court of Appeals decided that there is no probable cause against him, and he appeared. That's one of the right of a person if there is a warrant of arrest, especially if you question the finding of probable cause, which in this case is really questionable. Imagine those cases were already dismissed 4 years ago. And then we filed a motion for early resolution. Wala pong nangyari. You let 4 years to pass by in the Department of Justice. And then all of a sudden, simply because it has become fashionable to attack Pastor Apollo Quiboloy through the Senate hearings, through Senator Risa Hontiveros, who issued or spewed virulent comments against him, Then all of a sudden, there is a resolution which is even highly questionable. Meron pang ang preliminary investigation sa Davao City. Doon sa Pasig mo i-file? Kailan ba naging rule natin na kung ang crime sa Pasig City, ang preliminary investigation gagawin sa Davao City? The laws are flying po, Ma'am Ami. And that is precisely why we are valiantly questioning the resolution as against Pastor Apollo Quiboloy.
Pero sir, like Ping Lacson, of course, Pastor Quiboloy has the legal recourse to question the validity of the arrest warrant. That's a given. I think that's what the Supreme Court ruling was about. But at the same time, that does not erase the fact that he is still a fugitive. Because there is an arrest warrant against him, the court has ordered his arrest for him to appear before the court, and you also have an arrest warrant coming from the Senate. So I know you're saying that he's not in hiding, that he is not a fugitive, but I don't want to also quibble about terminologies because whichever way you cut the cake, you are cutting the cake. In this case, he is wanted by the courts, and he's taking the recourse of going to the legal process. I understand that. But still, he is still in hiding.
With due respect, are you a lawyer po, sir?
No, sir. I am not.
No, sir. That is why there are technical definitions when you define a fugitive from justice. There is that leading case on the matter, and a fugitive from justice, if there's already a conviction and you hide, that's fugitive from justice. And the second aspect of it is that if are those persons who, after being charged, flee to avoid prosecution. Here, yung kolatilia kada after being charged kasi, hindi pa kasi tapos. Kasi meron pa kaming motion for reconsideration dun sa charge aspect. So therefore, the definition of a fugitive from justice does not attach. A layman would probably classify him as a fugitive from justice. But learned persons of the law would know that if the indictment is still under question, he is not technically yet, at least pursuant to our jurisprudence, a fugitive from justice.
Okay,
Yun
sir.
po ang
So
aking
what do you
pananaw
call
po
it?
yan.
What do you call this?
Pwede po ako magkamali.
Yes, sir. So what do you call this
Di ba
then?
mas madali? Hindi ba mas madali, attorney, kung magpiansa na lang?
Ay, hindi po. Kasi
Available
ang
ba?
ginawa po dito, grabe din po kasi. Sa
Tapos ang
resolution
usapan, di
po
ba?
na minadali po.
Hindi ka learned eh.
Yung preliminary investigation ginawa sa Davao. Sa
Yes.
positive portion po, merong human trafficking aspect. Human
Yes.
trafficking aspect. Tapos, ang sabi, the Davao City Prosecution's Office is mandated to file information in Pasig. Basic legal effect. The Davao City Prosecution cannot conduct preliminary investigation for crimes committed in Pasig. So if you have a crime allegedly committed in Pasig, Pasig should conduct the preliminary investigation. Let's leave that as that. The resolution states that for one crime of human trafficking, okay, nung pumunta na sa Pasig, naging dalawa yung crime at naging non-bailable pa. So, tapos hindi lang yan. Sa penultimate portion po ng information, meron pang criminal forfeiture order. Ano yan? Yung anti-money laundering aspect, yung kinote pa, it gave the power on the part of the prosecution to order the seizure of the assets of the accused in this case. Grabe naman, akala ko rape itong
Attorney,
kaso na
Attorney Torreon.
Bakit naman may aspect na ng money laundering po dito? Ano bang pakay dito? Pati assets ng kingdom, kukunin na.
Okay.
I hope you see my point.
Yes, Attorney. We see.
You may be against Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. Some of you may not like him. I love him very much. I have been his lawyer for quite a time.
Okay.
We're close. But you should also take into consideration that what if this happens to you? A case for rape would be filed against you, and then thereafter the information would state that all your assets, in the meantime, because that anti-money laundering law allows the court through a motion to be filed by the prosecution for the issuance of APO. What is that? Asset Protection Order. And i-freeze yung mga assets mo. Nako, mahirap na pala ngayon mag-rate talaga. Lahat ng mga assets mo, i-freeze in the meantime. Wala naman yun sa ating batas eh. Bakit talaga yun doon eh? Yun nga po ang aming punto dito.
Okay, maraming salamat, Atty. Israelito Torreon. Attorney to Pastor Apollo
Yes,
Quiboloy.
sir. Pleasure talking to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Maraming salamat po.
Salamat po.